Hi, I'm Theron, and here's my make for a do-it-yourself sonic screwdriver with household items. I've got some brass fittings, a little switch, an LED, and a vibrating motor that comes from a $2 toothbrush that I got at the dollar store, one of those sonic vibrating toothbrushes. So if you're a fan of Doctor Who, this will be a lot of fun for the kids. It lights up, and it'll be something that they can use to fix things. So let's learn how to build it. Okay, so this is what I'm going to use to create the sonic screwdriver. I've got a vibrating toothbrush that I got at a dollar store for a couple bucks. I've got an old piece of pipe that's threaded on both ends. I think it's 22 32nds of an inch in diameter. I've got a couple little brass fillings and brass end pieces here, and I've got a little momentary switch that we'll talk about when I do the electronics. But here are the basic raw materials for a sonic screwdriver using a sonic toothbrush. And here's the vibrating motor. I'm just going to cut this out, and I'm going to use the wiring and the power source wiring from the toothbrush itself, and we're going to put it all in here and see if we can get it to light up an LED and run that vibrating motor. So I've cut the toothbrush into the different pieces, and here's my motor, and there's where my leads are going to go in. And now I need to figure out how I'm going to connect my switch, the motor, and an LED. So I went ahead and got my breadboard started here, and we'll do a trial circuit and see how that goes. Okay, we've got the basic circuit in. I'm using a couple resistors, and I've got the switch to work on the light. I played with this a little bit and found that the motor itself is going to work as the resistor. So I'm going to go ahead and wire it the same way it was wired in the toothbrush, and the motor's perfect resistor for that amount of power. So I drilled the hole for the switch and used a little bit of epoxy for the switch, and then I went ahead and wired that to the motor, and it's just a high revolution motor. I also have another one you can get. It's a 3-volt DC vibration motor. You can get them at Radio Shack, and they look like this. And they spin, I don't know, they spin quite a bit, very fast, like 16,000 RPMs. So it's pretty amazing how this little motor generates quite a bit of vibration. So I cut out the battery pack here, and instead of using AAA, I ended up using about 4 of these little button cells, and was able to still use the same battery container, and I just cut out the rest of the plastic. Now I've inserted the motor, the switch, and now it's connected to a very bright LED. It's a very bright blue LED, and everything seems to be working now. Now it's time to kind of pick my pieces. I've got a bunch of different random brass pieces here. This will probably work for the end. I've even found a shower nozzle. And I've done another sonic screwdriver just for fun, where I just used random parts. This is a handle to a screen-in door, and I just wrapped it with some wire. This is a magnet, very powerful magnet there, and just glued a rubber stopper and some different things. And that's kind of my prototype. That's my beta. Just looks cool, doesn't make any noise, is magnetic, which is kind of neat, so you can pick things up with it. But I wanted to make something that lights up and makes more noise, so we're going to take it to the next level. Here's my design for the front of the screwdriver. This is what's going to make connections. And then I found a little clear crystal shaped bead, and it's just made out of plastic, and I drilled a hole in it, and I connected it with epoxy to the brass fitting so that the LED will go right up in there, and we'll slide it up, and it'll be real close, and that should help to give us a nice bright light when we show this sonic screwdriver. When I put on my end pieces, the threads are still there, so I thought for a little decoration I would use these rubber gaskets I got at the hardware store and just roll them on and put on a brass ring, which is also going to add to the vibration of the sonic screwdriver, and that'll also help to cover up any threads that are left. And I might glue those later, a little hot glue or some epoxy. I'm going to put that on right over the motor, and then just kind of snug that down so it gives it a nice stylized look, going for kind of a steampunk sonic screwdriver here. So it's already starting to look a little different now. Going to repeat the process. The rubber gasket, threading it over the wire, putting on the brass ring here as a decorative piece, and then another rubber gasket right over the top. We can adjust that later. Now we're ready to thread the LED into the tip here. So let's get that going. With that threaded, we'll just take the excess wire and try to bend it into the curve there, and we'll screw those two pieces together. Now we can adjust that brass ring. Move that into position. That'll hide the threads. Now we can start fixing stuff. Here's a sonic screwdriver in action, the real test. Go ahead, give it a shot. Yeah, it's fun. You can put it on different surfaces to make different tones and different sounds.
This is great. I have my very own sonic screwdriver.